Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the life group lesson, Rhythms of Rooted. In the past weeks, we have learned 3 rhythms of rooted. Number 1, rhythm of spirit-filled surrender. Number 2, rhythms of devotion. Number 3, the rhythms of serving. Today, I'm continuing the rhythm of rooted in the context of life group or cell group. In Genesis chapter 2 verse 18, God says, "It is not good for a man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." God do not design us to go through life alone. In all of us, there is a deep need for fellowship with others and sense of belonging that connect us to develop various relationships. God's original fellowship plans for humanity was one man and one woman. God started the first life group of 2, blessed it to multiply and grow into the millions of people we see today. God is the author of small life groups, and the family is not the only one He formed. In fact, the first thing Jesus did when He began His ministry was to form a small life group of 12 men whom He designated as apostles. God formed us for fellowship, and God has demonstrated to us in the book of Acts chapter 2 verse 42 to 47. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold properties and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. The scriptures gave us a great picture of the early life group of a church where a small communities of people who follow Jesus. This group of believers engaged in life together through teaching, fellowship, communion, prayer, miracles, radical generosity, and corporate worship. They spend time together eating, learning, celebrating, proclaiming the good news of God, and supporting each other. In addition to the above, there are 50 plus one another verses in the New Testament flesh out other aspects of this small community. Number 1, love one another in John chapter 13 verse 34. Number 2, be devoted to one another in brotherly love, Romans chapter 12 verse 10. Number 3, be patient, bearing with one another in love, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 2. And the one another in the New Testament just means to do something towards other. For example, it was a place where people loved, forgave, served, bore burdens, encouraged, exhorted, prayed, equipped, spoke truth in love, confessed sin, and treated each other as precious members of one body. God wants us to live a life with a bigger purpose. When we learn the way of Christ and live a life for one another, we come alive and shine the light of grace. Life group gives us the chance to make a huge difference for others. Life group also gives us a way to go deeper into our walk with God. There is this quote saying, "Life is a piece of cake. It means to be shared." In the life group, you come together in a covenant relationship to do the kingdom's work. Oftentimes, many of us are contented with attending church on Sunday mornings and calling it good. But what about the rest of the week? God wants to meet us on any other day just as much as He does on Sundays. The church was never intended to be a Sunday-only experience, as growth, discipleship, and worship are means to take place on a daily basis. Life groups allow members of a church community spend more time together in a more intimate setting. This setting allows us for more questions, direct discipleship, and life-giving fellowship with other church members. Here, the following are benefits of an individual joining a life group. Number one, life groups provide fellowship. In Genesis, God said it was not good to be alone. When Jesus walked the earth, He rarely did so alone. He was almost always surrounded by His disciples, and He spent many evenings in people's homes, sharing a meal, laughing, connecting with others. If this is the life that Jesus modeled, shouldn't we follow His example? Fellowship, which is essentially just enjoying the company of other believers, is vital to our Christian's life. As Christians, we need to connect with one another. We need to have deep friendships with the people in our church, and life groups are the perfect opportunity to cultivate these relationships. With just a handful of people in each group, you can actually get to know people in a real and raw way. Spending time in fellowship gives us the opportunity to practice loving people. You do this by listening to each other's stories, hopes, struggles, while sharing meals. Number two, discipleship. Fellowship naturally leads to discipleship. Discipleship is the ongoing process of becoming more like Jesus. This happens through the biblical teaching shared in life group settings, discussion about Jesus, and biblical principles, and normal conversations with fellow members. The people in your life group can help you work through your own fears, doubts, and questions, so that you can build a solid foundation of strong faith in your personal life. It's one thing to occasionally have a conversation with your pastor, but pastor usually has hundreds of people in his congregation. It's impossible for them to know each individual in a personal way. Here is the life group leaders and members who truly know you and the things you are going through, speaking into your life and offering encouragement. Number three, accountability. It's hard to become the person God created us to be without accountability. When you get to know people in your life group, their goal should be to help you to mature in your faith. We all mess up and we all develop bad habits somehow and some way along life journey. And much of the time, we can't see those things for ourselves. That's where we need fellow members who can see those things and bring them to our attention in a loving way. Biblical correction and accountability are how we grow and become a healthier Christians. Number four, prayer and support with members. The life of a Christian is to be a life of prayer. Life groups are a safe place to share your needs and concerns with others so that they can lift things up in prayer. This is a beautiful thing to know. When you are struggling with life, you can always count on life group members who are praying alongside you. And you get the opportunity to practice your faith on a regular basis as you pray for other members of your life group as well. I remember our powerful testimony shared by Brother Rodney when he was infected with COVID-19. He was in his ways of fighting the battle of life and death. Only the life group members that's committed in praying 24/7 has touched the heaven and won him back from the enemy. No one should excluded from being able to participate in a life group. No matter where you are in life, one should consider finding a group that is suitable to you. I and my wife has been in different life groups all of our Christian life. In life group, we experience love, care during our times of challenges and struggles. We also learn much deeper in knowing Him and His desiring for us to be more Christ-like. And answer His call in service to Him is the area He called us to. In life group, this is where friendships are made, disciples are sharpened, and faith is exercised on a weekly basis. If you know anyone who is currently not part of any life group, please encourage them to join one so that they could be like you and I, that they will not miss out on a deeper level of Christ-centered community. God bless.